Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Guys, the question of monotheism. I think a lot of Christians, they don't really understand the points that we make about this. Monotheism is a prerequisite. Okay, so if you have issues there, you need to really question yourself. You see, a lot of people can be Christians or Muslims and all of that, and they have other issues. Like some even class themselves as these guys, they are not saved based on those other issues. But there are some issues that you cannot dispute with. Okay, for example, monotheism. Do you even know what that means? Do you believe in one God? Like, is it just because you said it? There's a lot of assumption that I say that I believe in a monotheistic God, but do you really, especially with the doctrine of the Trinity? So the point I'm making here is this: if people are constantly questioning you about monotheism, every time since the inception of that very idea of the Trinity, there have been questions that, is that monotheism, is that one God really? And you constantly, till this day, people are raising this objection. You start thinking like maybe there's something there, okay? Especially when you yourself don't even understand how to even explain it, So then you make everyone look like they don't know what they're talking about, whereas you're the one coming up with this concept, okay? So the idea of the Trinity, to the very least, to most people, they have no idea what it is, okay? So when you're talking about three individuals really in one being of God, I've already made a lot of analogies to show why it is not monotheistic. I've already shown why, because using like definition of monotheism, if you are going to make a standard for monotheism, is it going to be three persons and one being, or one person and one being? Think about it. One person and one being, or three persons and one being? Which one do you think is monotheistic? Okay, choose one, such that we'll say anyone that is below three or above three, they are not monotheistic. You see how weird that sounds? Like three, or is it like the amount of persons do not matter, the amount of individuals, they don't matter? Like, this is even before I even start criticizing the whole idea. This is just at the very least. Do you think they are the same? One person and three persons, they are definitely not the same. So we are reasonable and valid objection to the doctrine of the Trinity, trying to say like everyone is there are three persons and one being and is monotheistic. No, it's not. Okay, unless we don't know what we're talking about. I've seen people use like many ideas to say, see, we are not talking about one in the one sense. So the one God is the one being, not the three persons. Okay, many things have been said like that, but I've told you guys, reduce it to the minimum. Which one is going to be the standard? And recently I was listening to a podcast. This guy is saying that, see, that Muslims and the Jews, we are hard monotheists. What does that even mean? Like, he said we are hard monotheists. Hard meaning we are not willing to make any plurality with regards to how many persons we are talking about. We are saying one, you are saying there can be more. What are we talking about here? Do you see the difference, guys? So where we are saying, see, you can't have any plurality of persons in God, plurality of individual, plurality of consciousness. We are not talking about one anymore. We are talking about one point of consciousness, one person. Now, they will try to say, you see, the person we are talking about here is not the person in the traditional sense of the word. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter. Do we even understand what we are talking about? They will try to make you say, you don't understand God. Fine. But do we even understand what we believe? You see, there's a difference between comprehending the entirety of God and even understanding a justifiable belief. If you cannot even understand what you believe in, how can you say you even believe in that? You don't even know what it is, okay? So if God told us that He exists, and you're like, we don't know what that means. We do know what it means, okay? Maybe we don't know how, but we know it does, okay? And it's not contradictory that God exists. So, but if there's a contradictory claim with regards to monotheism and the Trinity, if they are not the same, then we have to make an objection there. Because now it's contradictory. It's not just mere we don't understand. It's just clear cut, guys. All those ambiguous language, if you watch my channel and all the things I talk about here, you see where I expose them. Most people have no idea what it is. It's just required language, what you're supposed to say. So they say it, they just have to say what they have to say, okay? But when you start questioning, and when you realize that monotheism is actually much more important, I'm telling you, it's more important than any other things we talk about, any other small issues that we argue about. That is not as important as monotheism, because monotheism is what God separates the God of Abraham, especially when you're talking about the Abrahamic faith, from any other concept of God. Okay? But even before we even go there, but realize this: if you're not a monotheist and you have other stuff, you're just wasting your time. You're just wasting your time. I'm telling you, God will not accept whatever it is you've done if you are not a monotheist. Okay? If you are worshiping other things than God, you believe in other things than God, you're giving them God's privilege to other persons, you're out of the fold, no matter what you do. Even if you are nice and all of that, God doesn't care. God doesn't need us. He doesn't need our worship. He doesn't need anything from us. Okay? What He wants from us is we should use our brain and not make wrong judgments on God. Okay, guys? So I just want to make that short. I just want to make sure that people understand that, see, monotheism is the main message. The main message of Islam is monotheism. The main message of all the prophets has always been monotheism. None of them came with something else. They all came with the same message. Okay? You worship one God and don't associate partners with Him. Okay, guys? So I hope you get the message. So, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.